Hi Patty, welcome. This is my garage. This is where you guys are getting to see all kinds of rooms in my house. So this is where my boys work out. So they've been really great about working out every day. They like to lift weights every day. So what they do is they pick one or two muscle groups, and then they do that. And my husband's been real great about getting them all set up in gear. So we're here to talk about foam rolling. So I'm going to talk for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to talk as we're rolling because I really want to try to get through the entire body. So what we're going to do real quick is I just want to talk a little bit about these foam rollers. So this one's about 36 inches, and what I like about this one is that you can land it. So this is going to support me, okay, my tailbone to my entire head. And so I can do some spinal and my alignment work here. And in addition, I can kind of roll from side to side. And I don't know about you guys, but the area that I love to roll the most is my back. I feel like I have a lot of tightness there. And so there's a lot of things that I can do because I can roll this way. Now, if you have one that's shorter, we can still roll the back. Okay, we're gonna roll it in this way. Okay? But you can't lay on this unless the entire torso is going to be supported. And so that is why I recommend a 36 inch. And then the other thing to note is that rollers, they're not all created the same. So they have different densities. So for example, this one right here, this is medium. Okay, this is actually pretty firm. So this is going to be a medium to firm. This is not what I started with. What I started with was something that really looked like a pool noodle. I'm not kidding, it was just looked like it was styrofoam, open cell. So like here, if you guys kind of look at this, this is kind of tight. Like I'm not seeing a lot of openness. And as I'm pushing it in, you can see it's not compressing a ton. A little bit, there's a little bit of give, but not a ton. And so then what eventually happened with that foam roller is that like it would start out fine and then I would roll on it and then the foam roller would be like dented. Like I created so much compression that it was not retaining the original shape. And I'm like, okay, so it's time for a new one. So let me just go over a couple things real quick. So why? Why do we want a foam roll? What are the benefits? And so some of the benefits that we have are, it can reduce tightness. So we talk about the fascia. So the fascia is the soft tissue. So we have our muscles, we have our tendons, our ligaments, and our bones, and then the fascia kind of connects everything together. So the fascia is wrapped around each muscle fiber. And that's, imagine a group of muscle fibers together, fascia is wrapped around that. And then we have all these bundles of fiber, fascia is wrapped around that. It's wrapped around our organs. And it's primarily made up of collagen. So if you guys can imagine like a chicken breast, like the thing that surrounds the chicken breast is like an example kind of what fascia might look like. So what happens is, as we move along with life, the fascia, how can I say, we get into, I'm going to say, some faulty movement patterns. So it could be, for example, like if we're doing a squat, all right, we're doing a squat, and then maybe we're coming forward. So I'm not engaging my glutes. Okay, my glutes are underutilized. So when I do that, when I do these movement patterns, the fascia is communicating information through the muscles, through the central nervous system. And so once we kind of start to change those movement patterns, then it changes the neuromuscular efficiency of our movements. And so the glutes actually might stop firing if we stop using them. Okay, so another example is a lot of times if you're out and about, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are people that have a forward head. So for example, the person as they're walking, their head may be here instead of here. A lot of times you'll see this in older people. And so what happens there is they're not using their back muscles to support their posture. So maybe they're leaning forward here. And so what the communication, okay, from our movement patterns to the brain is it's very smart and it's very dynamic. So what happens is so if I'm here, it's going to start making fascia. It's going to start making more soft tissue to help support me keeping my head here. And that tissue, it's not going to be nice, soft, easy collagen. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be in a random pattern. So then what happens is it just makes it more tight, and it creates what we're going to call lumps. So those are going to be some areas of tightness, some lumps. And so when we go and we get a massage, and maybe they're working on the back, like, oh, that feels tight. Okay, these are like adhesions, soft tissue adhesions. And so when we use the foam roller, we can help soften and reduce that tightness. So it can help reduce the tightness. And then we can also help improve our patterns again. So say we're not activating the glutes. Okay, we're gonna start on the glutes, and then we're gonna start rolling on it. And so we're increasing the awareness of those muscles so that maybe we can start activating those muscles, getting those muscles to fire again. And then the key with our rolling here is we're gonna roll over each of the areas. We're gonna maybe try to find a trigger point, and that's gonna be an area of tightness, or it could be soreness. Say we worked out, our quads are sore. Okay, it could be just soreness, but it could be like a knot, and you're gonna feel it as you roll. What we're gonna wanna do is you wanna stay there. You wanna stay there for maybe 30 seconds. 30 seconds is the magic number when it comes to relaxing the muscles and being able to make a change. So about 30 seconds, you wanna try to breathe through it. Now, we don't wanna roll over a painful area. When we roll over that painful area, we're just adding more tightness. And so we're not relaxing, we're adding more tightness, and we're putting ourselves into fight or flight mode, which is not gonna help our muscles relax. What we wanna do is we wanna stay in that relaxation mode. So, I'm gonna continue talking, but I can talk and roll at the same time. Let's do an assessment before we get started. So let's go ahead, lay on your mat. Just lay on your back, palms down, and just take a couple deep breaths. Now I want you to notice to what extent your body is connecting with the mat. So just notice from your head, notice maybe your shoulder blades. Notice maybe your triceps, your hands. Are your wrists creating contact with the floor? Notice the back of your hips, your hamstrings. Take a moment and just relax everything and just notice to what extent maybe your feet are turned out. And just kind of notice your compression, your flatness against the earth. So now let's come up. And if you have that 36-inch, we're going to do some spinal alignment exercise. If you have the long one, let's go ahead and lay on it. But if you don't have it, just lay on the mat. It's going to be fine. It doesn't matter. So go ahead, and if you're on the roller, you want to be completely on the roller. And you want to be right in the center so that you feel your spine supported by the roller. So from here, I want you to just take your palms down and take that left hand, okay, thumb up, and I just want you to just kind of reach it back. And I don't want you to try to touch the ground. I want you to think about length. So just kind of notice where that's at and bring it down. And then take the right hand, thumb up, reach it back, and bring it down. Now let's take a moment and just notice maybe if one side can get further back. We're not judging, we're not going to try to get, super far back, but just notice about where it is. Does it hit the ear? Is it parallel with the shoulder? And just maybe notice if maybe you have a difference in flexibility, one shoulder versus the other. So let's do one more each side. And then let's take both hands up. So the palms are facing each other, and I just want you to go ahead and open up and close. And then maybe just touch the fingertips down to the mat and close. And if you're laying laying on top of that roller, you may feel already some compression into the shoulder blades that might feel kind of good. You may even be feeling some release. Now, let's go ahead, hold the hands at the top. I want you to turn the hands so the palms are facing outward, and I want you to reach both hands back. Internally rotate the thumbs, and then bring it around. Again, just adding a little bit of stretch over, around. And if you're on that roller, maybe take it a little slower. You're maybe feeling some release. Pretty cool. Let's do one more. And come on up. So we are going to start on the glutes. And this is just going to be kind of a feel good. So we're just going to kind of massage. So if you want to just go ahead, kind of reach the hands back, maybe onto fingertips, and just kind of allow the feet to come forward and roll back. So this is just really kind of a feel good exercise here. Okay, we're just rolling. This is just massage. So just by rolling, you might feel good, you may feel something going on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it to one side and not the other. So what I kind of like to do, in fact, let's go to the one side. I'm going to give you guys the side view, and then I'm just going to tell you we'll be on the same side. So what I want you to do is maybe sit towards the front of that roller. So not like in the center, or I guess it doesn't matter, you could be in the center. So sit wherever, and just take the right hand behind you, and then I want you to shift the knees forward. Okay, so I'm leaning back on my right hand. My knees are facing kind of an angle on the right, and we're going to roll over the piriformis, or kind of like that back hip. So as we roll, I want you to roll about 1 inch a second. So it's pretty slow, and then I want you to just roll over it, and then notice if you feel anything. So I'm coming all the way down, all the way up, and if you feel an area, you feel like a click or something going on, maybe hold it there. So we want to hold it here, again, for about 30 seconds. So the way that I like to do that is I count. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you count that, I want to say about 8 times, it's going to be about 30 seconds. Okay, so we may need to practice that a little bit to get the right timing, but you just want to stay there. And then if you want to be pain-free, so if you feel any pain, just get off the roller. If it's like super painful, you want to be at about, on a scale from 1 to 10, you want to be about a 6. So you definitely do want to feel something, and this may not be painful here. You may feel more pain as you go to the IT band and the quadriceps, and maybe the calves, but this isn't too bad. So another thing you can do, so we can roll, we can rock. So I'm just going to move forward and back. So we talk about, so again, when we talk about pain, we want to be mildly uncomfortable. We don't want to be super uncomfortable. All right, and then let's just maybe go a little bit more. And I like to, it's nice to roll one full side at a time, but I know some of us may need to leave, so I want to make sure that we're getting equal work on equal sides. So just stay here about just a few more seconds. It goes quick. I mean, it takes a while to foam roll everything, but this is kind of a nice one. It's kind of a, I think it's kind of a feel good. So now we're going to switch to the other side. So you're just going to go ahead and you're going to lean on the left hand, and then you bring the knees over to kind of the left corner here. And again, I like to roll along the whole thing and then see what's up. What's up, piriformis? And then you're going to find a spot, and then you're going to maybe stay there. And 30 seconds is that magic number. We talk about stretching. It's about the stretch reflex and the ability to relax the muscle and to create a change in the length or the tension of the muscle. So we just Try to breathe through it. And again, we can rock. Maybe the rocking feels kind of good. Or we can hold it there a little bit more. Maybe bring the legs over just a little bit more to the left. So a lot of this, you guys, as you go through and you start rolling your body, you're going to kind of feel as to where you know is tense and where it's not. And you're going to get really, really good at it. And it's good to maybe, just kind of change. Maybe I'm going to lean forward a little bit here. Change the angle by which you're rolling. All right. So let's go ahead and stay on this side. And we're going to go into the gluteus medius. Okay? So what you're going to do is we're going to stay to the left. And you're just going to turn your body. And we're going to get the gluteus medius, which on the bottom is this part of the glute, the side glute or the side butt. All right? So I can take my right leg and I can cross it over. And then I'm going to roll over the side butt. And we want to stay away from the bones. Okay, so I don't want to roll over my hip bone here. I want to kind of stay a little bit off that. Do the best I can. I don't want to be putting a lot of pressure on my bone, or I don't want to put any pressure on my joints. So maybe, and you want to make sure we're adding enough compression that you're feeling it. If you're like, I don't feel anything, try to add a little bit more compression. And then you can rock side to side. And then from here, let's go ahead and turn so that you're on your belly down. And we're going to work on the hip flexor. Okay? So from here, you're flexing your toes, so that's helping you hold up. And you can also, you want to kind of have that, you want to be at the end of the roller here. Okay? So again, you're going to roll, say, to the top of the thigh and up to that hip bone. And then once you're here, I like to go 3D, okay? I call it my 3D roll technique. So I'm rolling right here on the middle. Now I'm going to take my left foot and I'm going to take the toe out. So I'm turning internally the thigh, and I'm going to roll there a little. Gets a little different angle. Now I come back to center, and I can just push through that foot, or I can take the pressure off the foot. Gives me a little bit more compression. Now I'm going to take my left foot, and I'm going to turn it so it's externally. That outside foot is my toes are on the ground, and I'm going to roll it that way. Maybe rocking side to side. From here, we're going to go into the quadricep. Now, the quadricep is going to be, really it's going to be just that top leg. So it's going to be above the knee joint. We don't want to go to the knee, up to the thigh. So I like to usually split that up in thirds. But for today, we're going to split it up in just halves. So we're going to think about rolling from the top of the thigh about midway down. So let's roll that area. Just see how it feels. Now externally and internally rotate the foot to get the inside of the thigh and kind of the outside of that quad. And then let's decide where we want to go. So maybe pick a point and hold it. Now here you may be feeling a lump, you might not, you just may feel some soreness. Okay, the quads can be a very tender area, so you can add compression by just allowing the body weight to go into the roller, or you can release it by kind of using your elbows and lifting up a little bit. So you decide how much pressure you want, and then again you can rotate the foot in and out to get the different sides, or you can roll it laterally here, rocking it back and forth. And if you want to really feel it, see if you can flex the foot up and hold it there. we're gonna move forward now. So now we're gonna come to the bottom half of that from up the knee. And just roll. And again, I just like to kind of do a full roll first, just to kind of feel it, rotating my foot in and out. And then see like where you think you may want to hold it. And then we breathe. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So maybe we do that like 8 times. 8 deep inhales, 8 deep exhales. And maybe that gets us to that 30 seconds. Maybe 10 breaths. Maybe you can't get through that many. Maybe you're like, oh gosh, I can't really take it any more than 4. That's okay. Okay, so we've done the quad. Now let's get the IT band. And I'm sorry I'm kind of facing you in the back, but maybe it's a little bit easier for you to follow this way, and then we'll get in the front next time. So we're going to do the IT band. Now, the IT band runs from basically your hip bone down here to the knee. Okay, it's here. I'm going to turn around for a second. So, my understanding is the safest way to roll this area, because you don't necessarily want this area of your leg to be super flexible, right? We want this to be pretty stable. So we're going to roll, imagine, so here's our quad. We're going to roll to the top of that IT band. So we're not going to be in the middle, we're going to stay more to the top. So let's go ahead, turn back over. And this time, you're going to put that right foot up, okay? And then I'm just going to roll, maybe roll that down. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, now put the foot over. And then I'm going to roll down the length of my IT band, kind of on the top of the quad, supported by my forearm. And then I'm going to maybe find a spot that I want to hang out on. And that's hang. And again, more compression, let the body weight into your roller. Less, you can kind of put more weight into the hands, lift up. You decide. So we just hold out. And then let's roll ourselves back up onto the glutes. All right? And if you want to, you can roll it out on the glutes again. Just kind of giving a little bit of release. And then we're going to finish up on this other side. So we're going to start, I'm sorry, here, let's start here. So right hand back, and then we're going to lay on that right side. We're going to start with that gluteus medius. So some of this with the balance is going to have to, you're going to have to kind of feel like how it's more comfortable for you to balance. But we want to try to stay in proper alignment. So again, we're going from that hip bone onto the side glute. You decide how much pressure, and then maybe you want to lean back a little bit, lean forward a little bit, rock side to side. Be finding a point. There's no right way or wrong way to roll, as long as you're not experiencing too much pain. Again, mild discomfort is okay, but we don't want anything to be painful. So obviously, if you have any sores or any injuries, you're going to have to avoid those areas. So from the piriformis, or from the side glute, the gluteus medius, you're going to turn over. And again, I'm going to keep the roller here at the end. Okay, so I'm not in the middle, I'm kind of keeping this down at the end. And then I'm going to use my right foot both my feet are tucked under, and I'm going to use my toes to help me roll here. Okay, maybe we're keeping that belly drawn in a little bit so that we can keep a neutral spine as we're rolling. Okay, about an inch a second. And then again, you can kind of internally and externally rotate the foot. When we internally or externally rotate. You're feeling it a little bit more in the thigh. You bring it in. You're feeling a little bit more the other side. And then you can laterally go back and forth. Not too bad. And now we're ready for that quad. So, again, we're going to divide that quad into top and bottom. And so I'm just going to roll forward here to the center, and then I'm going to roll back. And then I'm going to bring my foot in, my foot out, just to kind of feel what's going on there. And then I'm going to pick a spot, kind of rolling off the mat. So I'm going to move back a little bit. So go ahead, back and forth, find that spot, and then you decide if you want to add more tension, kind of getting into the weight, relaxing, or pulling up with the elbows. And just hold it there and breathe. And then again, if you really, really want to feel it, maybe you lift up the foot and flex and let that weight go into that foam roller. You can also move that leg around. Woo. Couple more breaths. The more you can relax into it, the better your results is going to be. So now, we're going to move forward into that top half, above the knee, into that half, and again, so however you want to think about it, I'm taking my heel out, one way then the other, just rolling it out, and now I'm going to pick a spot, maybe internal, maybe external, breathing through it. So you can decide, and sometimes you don't have time to roll everything. As you can see, this is taking quite a while. We're not spending a ton of time on any area, but to get all the areas, it does take a while. Let's take one more breath. And now we're going to come work on that IT band. And I'm going to back up just a little bit. So again, when we think about that IT band, we want to think about so if this is the IT band, not necessarily in the middle, more on the top of that quad. So I'm gonna turn over, top foot comes in front. And I don't recall if we did I don't think I split this into halves last time. I don't want to spend a ton of time here because I know this can be a painful area. And again, going back to the density of the roller. So from what I've seen, a lot of times in the clubs, they do have a very firm roller. And that might hurt, that might be too much. And again, a softer roller, I'm gonna hold. Softer roller can be more doable. Just like weights, right? You don't start with maybe the 10s or 12s, right? You work into it. It's the same thing with this. Our tissue needs to work into it. And the tissue can get more resilient. I'm gonna just go back and forth. But we don't wanna hurt ourselves. When we hurt ourselves, we don't help ourselves. Take a couple more breaths. It's actually a pretty good core workout. You gotta hold yourself up. And let's come on up. Okay, so I just want you to take a minute and just notice how those legs feel. So we are activating all of these muscles. So hopefully it feels pretty cool. It's also good if you can combine your rolling into stretching. So next up, we're gonna have the hamstrings and the calves. So let's go ahead and start with the hamstrings. And you can do these 2 at a time. I find it more effective to do them 1 at a time. Because I feel like when you have both those hamstrings on the roller, you're not getting the compression. So let's go ahead and start with the right one first. So again, I'm just gonna kind of come up and I'm going to Take my hands back here to help me balance. Now, if this is too much, just put your hands down and just maybe go side to side. Okay? Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead, take it into halves. You can also take one leg over the other. Okay, that's gonna give you a little bit more compression. It's gonna be a little bit harder to hold up. And then I'm gonna turn my foot in. And I'm gonna turn it out. And I'm gonna find a spot and I'm gonna keep it. And I'm gonna take this foot out because it's a little much. And you may right away feel the release, or you might not. In any case, what's happening is you're gonna have that compression, so the blood flow stops for a little bit. And then when you let up on that compression, you get like a really nice flush back of blood back into that point, and that is what we're saying is going to help to improve the circulation and softening the tissue and the adhesion as well. So let's get the bottom half of that hamstring. Again, you may need to put that foot on top to get that compression. Toe in, toe out. If that's too much, just sit down, side to side. Or the other thing you can do is you can move side to side, kind of like a scraping. Okay, that's another technique you can use, either or. Let's hold it a little bit more. So why do we get adhesions? There could be lots of reasons why you may be experiencing tightness. Some of that could just be the way you move through your daily life. Let's come on down. Roll the foam roller out to the ankle, and let's go side to side. Just kind of laterally moving like a rainbow. And let's do a couple circles. And then right here you can feel that area right above your heel kind of pressing into that roller. So we're gonna go ahead, and I like to separate the calf into thirds, but we're gonna just stick with halves today. So go ahead and let's take it into the halves, moving towards the ankle. And then you can again rotate the foot in, rotate the foot out, and then see if you can find a spot. And you're also welcome to, as you find that spot, you can sit down and just kind of rest the arms and the core. You can also take the other foot over, adding more compression. You decide. I always find lots of knots in my calves. Other regions that you may have adhesions, and that's going to be scar tissue, injuries. It may be an injury that you had a long time ago that you don't even know you have an adhesion. Okay, so lots of things can affect the scar tissue. It could be how you hold your posture. Let's go ahead and get that top half of the calf. I'm rolling it out, I'm rolling it in, and out. And I'm going to find that spot. And I'm going to hold it. And I don't need to add my other leg over, but you can put it there if you feel like you need that additional compression. Just hanging out. So foam rolling has been around for a while. Some of the people in the industry have been doing this for like 18 years. Let's go ahead and switch to the other leg. So who does this? Anybody can do it. Any population. There are some, let's go ahead and get that hamstring. So again, let's split it in halves. And let's go ahead and get that top half. And then again, trying to target different muscles, different ankles. We turn the foot out. We turn the foot in. And then if you need to add that foot over for that compression, finding a spot. So athletes do it. Okay, you can do it twice a day. You can do it before you work out to help get your muscles in the best kind of alignment, or just kind of activating those muscles to get the greatest strength. Maybe even improve performance. And then after you can do it to help reduce the soreness. So athletes are doing it, and older populations are doing it as well, because it's a great way to increase mobility. And who can afford to go and get a massage a couple of times a week? So we activate these muscles. It's considered a restorative therapy. So like we're up here, but you could be here. And maybe again, we're going side to side, adding that braking. I don't know if you can feel that if you're doing this, but you're actually generating heat. Let's get that lower half. And then maybe rotate out, rotate in. And then you go side to side, finding that spot. What does it feel like? It's an area of soreness, an area of tenderness. And then again, you decide, okay, remember, we don't want to keep rolling through that tender spot. We want to hold it. And again, you can always reduce the pressure by using your other muscles, or you can add the pressure. Just a few more seconds here, a few more breaths. And we're going to get that calf. Lats are fun. We're going to do lats as well. And then we'll end on the back. One more breath. And then let's lower down. Let's go ahead and take the roller out to the ankle. And then again, I always like to just add a little bit of movement here. Just going side to side, kind of making a rainbow with my foot. And then let's go ahead, circle one way. And let's circle the other. And then we're going to divide that calf into halves. So let's go ahead, roll towards that half. And again, you can always go side to side if you find that you don't have the core strength yet to be doing this. And again, you can always take a foot over. Honestly, I don't feel the need to do that, but maybe you do. So let's find a spot and hold it. Adding compression, taking it away. So I'd be curious to know from you all, what you think about this. If you feel a particular area of tightness. And so foam rolling can help reduce muscle soreness, and I'll explain in a little bit. So maybe take it one way, maybe we're going side to side, a little lateral movement. And now let's bring it to the top half of that calf. Rolling it out. We don't want to go under the knee. Maybe taking the foot out, the foot in. And then decide maybe where you want to go and hold. And just by me pressing into that roller, I'm getting a little bit more compression, feeling it just a little bit more. And I don't know if any of you have experienced that when we hold it long that you actually feel the release. You may or you may not. Sometimes it may take a while. You can always drop your glutes, relax your core. Two more breaths, and we'll move on. Okay. From here, let's go ahead and do the lats. Now the lats can be a little bit tricky. Okay, you've got a lot of stuff going on here. We've got, of course, the back, okay, but we also have like, what do we call our immune system makes them, the little, not the cysts, but the lymphatic points here. So we want to be careful. So a couple of options here. When we do our lats, we want to keep the thumb up, okay? And that is because that's going to open up the shoulder joint a little bit more. Okay, you guys feel that? It's a little bit more open here than it is here. So we're gonna open up the joint, and we're just gonna take that roller, and I'm gonna put it right under my right armpit. Okay? So not just here, if I just kind of go back and forth a little bit, maybe you're gonna feel something. We've got a lot of stuff going on there, so we gotta be very, very careful with our shoulder. The thumb is up, and then if you feel up to it, you can kind of come up here onto that top foot is in front cross, and I'm just gonna go 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna come on down. Let's see, is it easier? I think it's easier in the front. Okay, so just go back and forth, and maybe you find a spot, and you hold it there. Or let's lift up, I'm gonna go forward 3, 2, and 1. And then one other thing I'd like to do here is I take my top leg, my left leg is gonna come back, knee up, and I'm just gonna kind of add a little rotation here. Okay, just depends on how you can move. And again, don't want this to be very painful. Okay, you guys are gonna find other ways where the foam roller compressed into your body is going to feel good. Okay, allow yourself to explore that. Again, as long as it's pain-free, you're in a good place. So let's get the other lat, and then we'll do the back. So let's go ahead, remember that thumb is up. Opening up through the shoulder joint, I'm putting this right underneath. And I'm just gonna go side to side. Control that compression, and just maybe enough. Or bring the top leg in front, and then you're gonna push through. 3, 2, 1, relax. We can try that one more time. Thumb up. 3, and if you can't get to balance where you can move, don't worry about it. It's not the right time. And 1. I'm gonna bring my leg back, and I just allow myself to rotate a little bit here. Only if it feels good. So be very careful with that one. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so hopefully we're all feeling pretty good. We do have time for the shins, so let's do the shins really quick. Sometimes you may get shin splints, and this can be helpful as well. These are also called jackrabbits. So I want you to just kind of touch your shingle first, and I want you to notice, I don't want to roll on the bone, okay? Feel the bone, and then feel to the outside of that bone. So that is where we want to roll. So we're going to start here. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm going to let my shin stay on there, and I'm going to pick that soft tissue. Okay? So pick the soft tissue, and then I'm just going to roll forward, and I'm going to roll back. And again, you can change your foot position. You just want to stay on the soft tissue. We don't want to roll on the knee. I'm going to kind of move my knees to one angle, other angle. And if you feel the point you want to stop and rest, do so. Again, you need some core strength here. Belly is pulled in. Maybe switch to the other side. All right, and let's come off of that. So let's get to the back. We're going to do it in a lateral fashion. And we're going to start working from the bottom to the top. So we're going to start by sitting onto the roller. So you can just sit on the center. And so what I want you to think about is a belt buckle. Okay, that's kind of the point that we're going to roll to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands back, okay? I'm on the tips of my fingers, and I'm just going to let my back come down. I'm going to walk forward, take the hands forward, and I'm just going to let it roll down up until I get to where I might put a belt around that waist, or lower, you know, those lower hips really. So down and up. So just maybe go about 1 inch a second. And so if you're having an issue here, maybe bring the feet in a little bit closer. And again, you're just slowly just kind of letting it drop and pressing back up. So now what if you let the knees fall to the left? You're going to get kind of down to the side a little bit. And then you can let them rotate to the right, and letting them come down. And maybe you feel a point that you want to stop and hold. Or maybe you just want to roll. That's up to you. Maybe you want to roll laterally, kind of do a windshield wiper. And I'm taking the heels of my hands to the mat. And we're ready to move on. So let's go ahead and I'm going to come into our middle back. Okay, that's our thoracic spine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come into a bridge position. So I'm lifting my hips, and then I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to take the hands behind my head, and I'm going to roll to the top, to the bottom, say it rolling across the rib cage. How about that? So it's coming like to the tops of my shoulder blades. About 1 inch at a time, inch a second. Maybe you want to just kind of rest up here at the top of the rib cage. Maybe not. So with control, option, drop the hips and stay here. You don't have to lift yourself up the whole time. Option, drop the knees to the left. You're going to get into more of the side. Just notice, feel that compression. Feel it into that shoulder blade a little bit. Maybe stopping. You can always add a little bit of movement here. Just adding just a little bit of side to side. Maybe take the knees to the right and roll. Belly is drawn in. Maybe you want to hold it. Again, add a little bit of movement here. Backs can be different. Everybody feels things a little bit differently. So you really need to listen to your own body and feel, just notice how it feels, and make sure you stay in a good place. From here, let's drop the hips for a second. So now we're not gonna go on the neck. So we go to the base of the neck and then across the shoulder blades. So again, we're gonna come up into that bridge position, lifting up the hips, and now I'm gonna roll to the tops of the shoulder blades and back. And allowing that compression, and just maybe noticing, do I feel something more on the right? Do I feel something more on the left? The more that we can understand our own bodies and our own imbalances, the better that we will be able to correct them. And we can correct them. Maybe not everything. Obviously, if you have a structural issue, that's not something that we can correct with a foam roller. Okay, I am not a physical therapist, I am not a doctor. Okay, but I always encourage people to advocate for themselves and know what feels good. And again, you can always, drop the hips at a point. come forward maybe. You can drop the knees to the left and roll. You're going to know where you want that compression. Let's drop the knees to the right. So I'm just giving you guys, in this time period, a taste of what it's like to roll. With practice, you will get better, you will understand your body, you'll be able to hold yourself up a little bit better, and it really is kind of a good core workout as well. Coordination, if you find a spot, and again, you can always add a little bit of side movement here as well, if that's something that feels okay. Let me get the other side here. Maybe roll across the length of the back, not to the lumbar spine, just from the tops of the shoulders, maybe to the base of the rib cage. Maybe hold. Add that movement. I could be on my back for like a half hour. And then just set the hips down and sit up. So I think we got all of the areas. So now we're going to do a quick reassessment, and then we're going to do a little bit more with that spinal alignment, okay? So let's go ahead and come back to the mat. On your back, hands down. And I want you to go back and see if you feel a little bit more of your body compressing into the earth. Noticing your hands, noticing where your wrists are, noticing where your feet are, noticing your shoulder blades, your hips, quads. See if you feel a little bit looser. And then, from here, let's go ahead, bend the knees, bend the knees, feet hip length apart. And if you do have that long roller, you can go ahead and come back on it. Adding with a little compression to the spine. Okay, so those knees are up. We're going to do those same things again. So let's go ahead and take the left arm back, and notice maybe if it goes back a little bit more. Other arm, right arm back. Notice if you feel like maybe you're getting a little bit more flexion, a little bit more extension. And let's come to the center. Open and close. And if you're on that roller, again, maybe you're getting some additional release. Open and close. If you are on that roller, maybe think about kind of pressing, like wrapping those shoulder blades around the roller, getting into more compression. And then from here, let's go ahead, take the palms away from you, hands over the shoulders. Take the arms back, and circle, and back, and circle. And if you're on that roller, if you're feeling the compression, you can go and stop and be slower. If you're feeling some releases. And then one of my favorite things to do here, you guys, instead of keeping the arms straight, I want you to take the arms back, but now bend the elbow, kind of bringing it towards the hip. And then if you are on that roller, think about wrapping the shoulder blades around the roller. Nice and slow. And just open. And open. And one more. And then just take the palms down. Let's take 3 nice cleansing breaths. Deep inhaling through the nose. Exhale, open the mouth. 2 more. Inhale. exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. Come on up. So that is how we roll. I hope you guys enjoyed the experience. Take a moment just to notice how that body feels. And I hope this is something that you can use. I'm happy to do this again. And let me know if you have any questions. So thank you guys for joining. And I don't know if you can ask anything here, but that's it. So let me know if you have any questions about the rollers, about where to get them. And I'm glad you guys were here to join me. So have a great day, and let me know if there's any way I can help you. Thanks, guys.